I love Monster Hunter Rise. It's probably my third favourite Monster Hunter game, but there are some things about it that I found very disappointing, and today I shall list 4 of them, my biggest disappointments in the entire game. Apex monsters are variants of existing monsters that look different and have different attacks. They're pretty strong. The disappointment here is that there is no armour or specific weapons to make from them. So for example, I cannot make Apex Rathalos armour by hunting an Apex Rathalos, because it doesn't exist. And I can't make Apex Diablos weapons from hunting an Apex Diablos because again, it doesn't exist. You can make a specific type of weapon known as the Rampage weapons, and using ramp up skills you can customise these weapons however you want. You can customise their element, their status, their damage. However, this one weapon tree is all you can ever make from them. This was a major disappointment for me because they're such cool and challenging fights, but aside from the fun of it, there is very little incentive to actually fight them. It's especially disappointing because Apex monsters were inspired from deviants in Monster Hunter Generations, and those monsters did in fact have armour and weapons. Monster Hunter 4 was my first game in the series, and I went in completely blind. I encountered so many wild monsters, it was amazing to experience them for the first time. So imagine my surprise when I discovered subspecies were a thing. I met Kezu, now here's a red Kezu. I met Gravios, now here's a black Gravios. I met Rathian, now here's a pink Rathian. These fights were great because they were high rank exclusive. You would face that regular monster in low rank, and then battle their subspecies in high rank, which would spice things up. So I was pretty disappointed when playing Rise and discovering there were no subspecies at all, especially because Iceborne had several subspecies: Pink Rathian, Azor Rathalos, Brute Tigrex and Stygian Sinoga. Their regular forms are in Rise, so the subspecies could have easily been carried over. Hell, Rise could have even added the subspecies from wild monsters: Coral Poke, Volga Anjanath, Seething Basilgoose. Their absence is pretty sad because high rank in Rise doesn't feel much different than low rank. This might just be me expecting too much because generally base Monster Hunter games don't actually have subspecies. World only had Pink Rathian and Azor Rathalos, Monster Hunter 3 had nothing, Monster Hunter 1 also had nothing. So I guess maybe it is normal for Rise not to have subspecies at the start, but I personally think they could have carried over several monsters from World and it would have worked. Let's just hope they make a return in Sunbreak. Monster Hunter World Iceborne's post-launch support was pretty good. We got event quests that provided us with new gear every once in a while, but the real highlight were the update monsters. Every few months, they would add a brand new monster. Deviljho, Lunastra, Behemoth, Raging Brachydios, Elatrion, etc. They were usually much harder than base game monsters, and their gear was amazing. There were problems with the update monsters though. You had to have a reason to fight them, so all their gear was super strong, and invalidated everything that came before it. And because of this stronger and stronger gear, the developers had to find crazy ways of making the hunts harder and harder, so they would still be challenging for players with the best gear in the game, but that's a topic for another day. Rise doesn't have any monster updates. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. After all, the game has more monsters than World did, and that's even with World's updates, not including the Iceborne expansion. Rise instead gets weekly event quests, and pretty much just that. What's the problem here? The problem is that the rewards aren't entirely that great. Occasionally, it's layered armour, which is cool, and sometimes it's a new gesture. In fact, for the past several months, they've been giving us cool gear from other Capcom games like Street Fighter. But some event quests give measly guild card titles, and some give stickers, which aren't ideal. A lot of event quests straight up give nothing. It's a bit like Apex monsters where you fight them for the fun of it and not much else. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt for a moment. It's entirely likely Rise got a lower budget for post-launch support than World did. Maybe they don't have the resources to make a ton of layered gear. Maybe most of the staff is working on Sunbreak. Oh, what's this? An eShop tab? Oh. Oh. Yeah, that's a lot of paid DLC, isn't it? I'm going to be real for a moment. I don't entirely have a problem with paid DLC. The paid music tracks? That's fine, since they're new arrangements. Stickers? That's also fine. Both of these are optional. But I do have a big problem with making layered armor paid. That is something that should be earned in-game. That's the way it used to be. You would see a fellow hunter with a cool set, and you would know that with enough work, you too would be able to make that set. That's not the case here. Look at all of this. And there's so much of it too. Almost £100 worth. More than the price of the whole game. Suddenly, you realise why there aren't many event quest rewards, because they're selling them all as paid DLC. There's even amiibo exclusive gear. Hope you enjoy shelling out 35 quid for this awesome set. There's no other way to get it. I hate amiibo, and that's not even getting into the quests. Some of them are cool, like this tiny Zenoga or this drugged up Apex Azoras, but I feel like they could be a lot more creative. Take the quest Boomy Dango. You fight Bazilgoose in the Frost Islands. What's the point of doing this quest? I can already fight him in the Frost Islands. Why not make it 3 Bazilgooses? Why not make it a Bazilgoose, a Magnamalo and a Rajang together? That would be fun. As time goes on, I think the variety of quests should get better. Like, this game will be supported for a long time. But overall, I would say the post-launch support is pretty disappointing, and I hope Sunbreak's is a lot better. In Monster Hunter World, whenever a monster would change areas, a special music track would start playing, known as the chase theme. They are unique tracks that are based on the battle theme that was playing. For example, Velkhana has a chase theme, but there's also a chase theme for the Wildspire Waste. The tracks are really cool, and are such an awesome addition to the series. They actually do make a return in Rise, but the coding to me seems very broken, and as a result you never hear them. When the monster runs away, you only hear the music if you're right on its heels. If you stop and sharpen, the music stops too. So this is how it ends up sounding. When this is how it should sound. I made a video on this some time ago and I highly recommend you check it out. I hope it gets fixed, because it's an issue that's present in the PC demo as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing else in Rise is really that bad for me. Remember to like and subscribe for more awesome videos, and let me know what kind of stuff you'd like to see in the future. Also, please check out some of my others.